Can I just begin by thanking Liz and Connie for insisting that I share this experience with them today. As school community, we believe we are all responsible for all our actions and behaviours. Our school community is characterised by the values. These 5 values are embedded right throughout the school: acceptance, respect, responsibility and personal excellence. Our students, as many in the room, come from diverse cultural backgrounds. Last count we had 30 different languages and 24 different countries represented, so that is quite diverse. Of our 210 students, at the moment, miraculously, 105 males, 105 females. We've always had a strong focus on literacy and numeracy, many years of that, and we believe that the students all do have the capacity to be successful and independent students. Our community is characterised basically by a small core of very helpful parents. We don't have a large number, but the strong core are very regular in assisting in a number of programs, the usual ones, I guess: literacy excursions, computer, technology. And I guess another really positive aspect is that we have a strong and quite articulate school council who support and keep up with what goes on in this area. And now I'm going to pass over to you.
Okay, so our school, excuse me, has always had a strong focus on improving literacy and numeracy, as Helen said. So when the AIZ project came up, we were quite keen to be involved and continue to improve our literacy and numeracy. We started with the professional development, excuse me, with John Munro, and Liz and I attended every week, and every second week then we planned professional development for the staff. In between that we also tried the strategies out, so it was really good to then go back at the next session and talk with other learning leaders about what we'd tried and what had worked and what hadn't worked and how we could improve it. And then we presented for the staff weekly curriculum meetings directly related to what we had learned from John Munro the previous week. Once we'd introduced the strategies at curriculum meetings, Liz and I then demonstrated the strategies. So we had some demonstration lessons where people came to watch us using them, and so that they could see how it would fit in with the current reading program that we had. After that, the leadership team arranged for staff to commence collegiate visits where we could observe each other. So people then got to try the strategies themselves and were able to provide each other with some feedback on what worked, what didn't work, how to make it better. In conjunction with that, we also changed our area meeting to include a student learning component. So this was before the PLT meetings were established. So we kept the discussion about the nuts and bolts things to a minimum, and then we had a good half an hour at each one of our meetings where teachers had the opportunity to discuss their collegiate visits. They got to discuss the strategies they had been using in the classrooms, and share ideas of what was working, what wasn't working, and further discuss the collegiate visits. So people might have commented on, what they saw and what happened. And it was actually really positive. It was quite open and people were happy to talk about what was working, what wasn't working, and it really helped people to understand the strategies really well. And also it was good to also discuss how it was working across different grade levels. So the Prep 1 teachers were able to discuss how they were using Getting Knowledge Ready, for example, with the preps, and the 2-3 teachers were able to share how they were using it and what was similar and what was different. And it was good to be able to see where it leads to and what comes before it. So it gave everyone the bigger picture. During our process, we had a slight detour because the focus of the discussions initially were on the HRLTPs, or reading comprehension, but then teachers indicated that they wanted some support with writing because they just felt that they felt that the reading was going along really well, but the writing, they weren't very happy with the way they were teaching writing. They felt that they weren't getting far enough with the kids. So the leadership team discussed it, and we decided that we'd provide the staff with some additional professional development, but we wanted something that fitted in with what everyone had already learned with the high reliability literacy teaching practices. We didn't want to introduce something completely different and completely new, because we thought that there had been a lot of learning and we wanted it to fit in with what they'd already learned. So with that in mind, we then employed John Munro to come to our school for a whole day curriculum day on writing. On that day, he actually took us through the writing continuum, which a lot of staff were aware was there but hadn't really had a good look at and weren't really sure how to use it. So that was a really good starting point for us, because it made people actually get into have a really good read of it and see what was in there and what they could use. And also John then talked about how the high reliability strategies fit in with teaching writing. So it sort of complemented what we'd already done, because the people were familiar with the strategies, they'd been using them in reading, and they were then able to see how they could bring this across to improve their writing program as well. So we once we'd had the whole curriculum day, we sort of felt that teachers felt that that was really good and they got a lot out of it, but they couldn't visualise what it looked like in action. They wanted to see what a writing lesson would look like using John Munro's strategies. So we employed John again to come to our school, and he actually did some demonstration lessons for us. So he did a demonstration lesson in Prep 1 and a demonstration writing lesson in 5-6, I think it was. And we released teachers so that the junior school basically all got to go and watch the lesson in the lower area, and the senior school got to watch the lesson in the senior area, and it all brought it together. You know, people were then able to see what it looked like. John ran through the high reliability strategies in our writing program, and we then had a bit of time for then teachers to talk about what they saw and how it would fit in with, you know, what they were already doing. We also videoed those sessions so that at a later stage, teachers were then able to watch, so the junior team was able to watch what John did with the senior school students and vice versa. So it gave people the bigger picture. They were able to see how it looks different in the junior area and how it looks, you know, what's similar and what's different about it. From that, we then went to developing our own writing plan, an implementation plan for using John Munro's strategies, and that helped people to keep on track to keep the high reliabilities going through both reading and our writing. And we just found that really complemented the work that Liz and I had already been doing with the in reading comprehension, and it actually helped teachers to see also how it can go across all areas of the school. Even though we'd sort of said, oh, it can be used in maths and it can be used, you know, sometimes until you've actually explored how it can be used, it makes it hard for teachers to understand or to take it on board and use it. So we found that teachers then were able to use it in both reading and writing. Okay, so